Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Better World podcast, where we read on Ash by author Bass. I am your host and writer and director of the World, a plus Better World podcast prior to roughly chapters and just get but that see our production team around the world. Most of our folks and I have with me today Hannah, who's a director, and also one of my fellow hosts. And at the beginning of each of we've been what we oh it like frozen again. Oh, there
Sorry.
was she good. Technical difficulties is a hallmark of this podcast, honestly. Um, so to start off today, I have my plastic mug that's as I suspected all along, which feels very Monday. I don't know if you guys know that. And I am drinking coffee. It's like instant Japanese coffee, which means it's actually got like sugar and stuff in it already. And
Wow. I like instant coffees most of the time, anyways.
yeah, I mean it depends because some of them that just like don't hit the spot, or they're like too bitter or something, or they just don't taste like coffee. Problem.
We're getting sidetracked already. We haven't even started the chapters.
Oh, you drank already? Wait,
Huh?
what do you say?
No, I said we're getting sidetracked already.
Okay, listen. This is this is a lot of chapters today. We're looking at chapters 52 through 61. And this is a problem because one, both Hannah and I love rambling. Two, these are some of my favorite chapters in the entire series. And three, we're yep, I don't know. It's gonna be rough. Please hang on with us. These are great chapters for us to be here um talking about, and I'm honestly
Mm.
so my out of context is uh the queen on the plane.
Oh, that's a nice one.
That is my favorite. uh, so Hannah, what are you drinking and what is your out of
I lost my quote. I have to re-find it. But I can say right now, I'm just drinking some very cold ice water because there's a lot of cold ice water in these chapters. Um, what was the do 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 do? I don't really have a quote. I mean, it's all the
it's
whole
all so good.
this whole section's really good. But I can't. I'm blanking on like actual quotes that I liked people saying. Um, I'm very sorry. I do not have one.
That's okay. um so
But yeah, anything I would say would be like probably pretty spoilery.
no, that's okay, you can do it. Say it. Say it. You
I
won't.
mean, I have Firebringer.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Firebringer and Planet. Get to them in due time. Um, today's theme is symbolic power.
Mm.
So we're pretty new people in Throne of Glass series being freaking powerful, right? Like some of these characters are the most powerful characters I've seen, and just not even by force of personality, but just by their like things that they can physically do. But
Mhm.
I think these next 10 chapters are very important symbols, whether it's about like action, what somebody something stands for. These chapters are just full of it. I am really excited to so without further ado, we'll start with chapter 52. Manon and the 13 are coming back from seeking Petra and the rest of the Iron Team that got left behind in the gap to try and rally them to go and join the cause to um, they were allowed to leave, but it is a little bit ambiguous as to whether or not they were successful, which the Krakens are not exactly happy with, or more specifically, Bronwyn happy with, which
I mean,
is fair, right? Like,
yeah.
like
We were kind of
hey,
hoping, just a bunch of wyverns would show up,
right?
like
Like
following them.
she's like, I thought you were a leader among the Iron Teeth, and you came back empty-handed.
Mhm.
And I think it's kind of interesting because in this chapter we hear from about Rhiannon earlier is half sister from her father's side. And she was one of the Kraken, the only Kraken, believed that the Iron were capable of really believe that there could be peace between Iron Teeth and Krakens, which you would think that the Krakens would kind of like issues that they would feel that way, but I guess after hundreds of years of being by the Iron, that can kind of diminish anybody's good. Not exactly surprised by that either. But I find it
Yeah,
really interesting that for all of I don't know 10 days has
get that.
this impact on how the Krakens are reacting towards, especially because it seems like the more about her, less, or the more we discover that Krakens.
I'm still here. I'm still here. Like
Yeah,
Rhiannon's voice.
yeah. Oh God, no, she's still here. She's in reverse. Um,
No,
yeah,
yeah,
and
I thought it was funny. Or not funny, but I did find it interesting that, yeah, she was just like this headstrong girl who everyone else just kind of rolled their eyes at about the whole unification.
then it wasn't until she died that they were like, you know what? Maybe, maybe she like actually had a point. But yeah, and I think that one of the quotes that me in this chapter was Anon realizing how much Rhiannon had in a way that she
Hmm.
hasn't believed ever. And she tells Glennis, and now there's just me. Like,
Hmm.
sorry you don't have the probably.
I thought it was kind of sweet too. She thought that they would rule together.
Yeah, that
I
was
thought that was really sweet. Poor baby.
yeah, and then right at the very end, Dorian is I'm gonna be a raven. He's just practicing.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the end of chapter 53. Is another really hard chapter to get through. I I hate Darrow. he's he is
I
such a
know.
dick. Like every time where I'm like, maybe he has a point. Like chapter 53 shows up in my um. So
Yeah.
where we last saw Lysander in 80, we're outside of Corinth and losing really badly. So
Mhm.
Lysandra changes into on on the battlefield, rally the troops that at least weren't um, all just getting cut down well. And it's successful, but I mean, Lysandra is not Aelin. Lysandra's
Yeah.
lies in the fact that she can become a wyvern and like a ghost leopard, all these things, but as a human, she's not really good at sort of can't do it. So it
Mhm.
that illusion was shattered very quickly, especially when she was fired to the so she's waking up in Adian over her and watching over France, running for 2 days now, and they're on their way.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only reason they're away from Morath is because
Mhm.
and
And the truth is out.
yes, Adian lets her know uh in his in the things he doesn't say that that everybody knows that he is shifted and so the implications of that like I we know Lysandra, so we feel for her, but imagine you're just a random soul got your queen and it's just impossible. Can't help you, doesn't
Yeah.
have the power to save. And you ran back and like died, or I'm sure that's like absolutely,
Yeah.
and it's just so dumb because it's at this point that Adian snaps out of his stupid rut of
Stupidity.
Lysandra's a lying bitch. Um, when he's just like, no, wait, you did this for Aelin and for not because you wanted to live with like the world. And I'm like,
This man is so
can't
stupid.
tell. I can't tell this chapter's very. Um, and honestly, Lysandra's snapback is um, I have been
Yeah.
degraded and humiliated so many, but I have never felt as humiliated as I did. That is rough. Like this
Yeah.
woman who was a courtesan who's like had her virginity auctioned off and was
Yeah.
like abused
Like,
by Arabin Hall. Not the same way as Aelin, but much the same extent as Aelin. Says
yeah.
that Adian throwing her out of his tent in the snow was the most humiliating thing I've ever had done.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
holy
she even said
shit.
like she crawled after men before, like she had to crawl after men before, but
Yep.
like, and like, yeah, she's been through a lot.
So like, yeah, she is angry. You know what? I don't blame
No.
her. He wanted her for after Wesley,
Mhm.
after all of it, I wanted.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those where I think that she would have been willing to help Aelin that, but says that it was because I mean like implied in here, but having this like she's like, well, I
Yeah.
guess if I have to pretend that I'm Aelin for the rest of my life and have like kids that look like Aelin, I'm glad that it's with like it's like yeah, because this was
Yeah.
originally what I wanted anyway. Got it. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, she essentially throws him out of her after saying, which oh my god,
And
that was
so
so long ago. It was when
I
she like
know.
just turned into a freaking dragon. crap, man,
Yeah.
forever again. Um,
Yeah. Like hold on to those promises very well for like the last several months.
right? Like, man, you forgot those promises, not her.
Yeah.
um, so Darrow calls him over after their fight, and he essentially tells him, "For reckless rebellion, I'm going to take away your rank, no longer general, and I am also taking the sword of Orinth." Which
Which is rude.
it's rude. Like, I mean, who else is gonna wield that thing? Like, it's supposed to be huge. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure Adian's the only one who can even like like pick it up properly and wield it. Like, okay, you now have a giant ceremonial sword. Congrats, I guess. I know this is,
Yeah.
and so this is just another example of like symbolic power. So that sword is more than just, it is one of the few remaining symbols,
Mhm.
right? And the one who is pretty much the one who wields the, and it to have it after doing so many, it's Bible. And that, and like, because it's the symbol of like all the things that Adian has, the groveling, the sep, the like everything he's had to do to Harrison intact up until it's all just being taken away. Says, as you are no longer the bearer of that title, the sword shall or appropriate. Like, I would like to find out who this appropriate bearer can be if they
Right.
are not Adian.
You're kind of limited on your choices.
Yeah, right? Like, it's like, who else has sacrificed as much as
Yeah.
honestly?
Well, and he's the one who like got it back even.
Yeah, he's the one who got it back. He's the one who the the rebel
The
forces
druid.
like in hiding, right? Um,
Mhm.
I don't know. And I don't know, to have that power taken away, it's not about the sword, it's about like what that stands.
Yeah.
Not that that actually makes everybody still consider. Think that it do kind of lose that presence, that that's what Darren wanted
Yeah.
everybody to see, that Harrison very rough. It's one of the few things that I'm like, man, that sucks for
Yes, before we read, we're like, what are we doing? Stop that. You can't do that. Yeah.
um so yeah, yeah, you continue. Darrow's decree had little bearing. Like, Killian just keeps referring to Adian as like his commander, and like he's like, Adian, what do we do? This is what we're doing. Like,
Yeah, basically.
which honestly, you just made your entire army. Okay.
Yeah.
They do find out that um there is a little bit of an issue trying to get to.
Yes. The
So
river.
they don't have boats to cross. Uh, they
It
can't
didn't
just,
freeze.
yeah, didn't freeze
Yeah.
over, and going to the bridge to the south is way too the more of this. So they're not really sure what to do. And asks you, um, and so they going, but yeah, at the very end they find out there is no ice on, which
Yeah.
I think is like really weird because they were saying that this winter harsh. I mean, like
I think it's 'cause
narrative.
it's so big and the current's rougher. Is that I think is how I understood it. Like the
Yeah,
fact that a river further south would freeze, but this one I think it's just too big. Like they were
got
concerned
it.
like even getting like halfway through, it might not be like excuse me, even if they thought it was frozen, they could get halfway through and the other half might not be, and then they would be trapped on the
Yeah.
ice.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
that would that's that's fair. I just thought that it was like
too convenient.
it's a little too it's a narrative thing and which is completely fine. I'm just so chapter 54 we are back with Kale and Annie L.
Mhm.
And Kale is just trying to, keep the peace in Annie L because Aelin is not doing a great job at keeping the peace. Which, to be fair, I mean, so you consider that like she and Kale were lovers. Kale did tell her a lot about his,
Yeah.
and like I mean, yeah, they didn't really leave on the greatest terms. But they did make up in book 4, I believe, and um and they are friends. I can see it, and Aylin's always very protective. I can
Mhm.
understand where she's coming from here. I would also want to punch Hale's dad in
Absolutely.
the I always do like all of his scenes with Farasha. I just think Farasha's great. She-
Yeah. Star Horse.
yeah, I mean Fleetfoot always has like a hold on my heart, but Farasha's definitely probably my favorite other than Abraxas. I think
Yeah.
there's just something to do with like really fearsome creatures that like act like puppies around like I love Abraxas. I love Farasha.
Mhm.
Terrifying. Oh yeah, Irene and Kale finally talk about how Irene it's just a very sweet moment. Irene's just like, "How did you know?" And Kale doesn't tell her like how he knows.
He says his father knew
I think he
somehow.
said yeah. He says yeah. He does say his father knew. My father apparently possesses better observational skills than I do.
Which is fair.
Yeah, which is fair. Kale's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have like a really cute moment where he'll be a brilliant father. You guys are. I don't like Kale like
Like,
individually, but Kale and Irene are.
yeah.
Yep, and uh, now you go from cute to like fucking hilarious as Aelin,
Yeah.
um, the Lord of Aniel, for the first time, I guess.
Mhm.
And his father's already pretty pissed off. He's like, "You failed to wake me when the Queen of Terrasen arrives at the castle." Kel's like, "It wasn't a priority."
Yeah.
So
You like kind of matter least at this point.
yeah.
Like
So one thing I notice as I'm reading, um, so it seems that like every outside of the nobility of Terrasen calls Aelin the Queen,
yeah. Yeah,
and
everyone
I
considers her queen except for Terrace
except for Terrasen,
noble.
and I'm like, isn't that like backwards? Like they're like usually it's the outsiders who are like, I don't consider this a royal, and like no, this is our royal, and put them on the. It's very weird. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it seems that yeah, everybody is just in the room. with
Eating
her
dinner.
eating dinner.
Yeah.
I honestly, like, I think it'd be really cute. I don't know if anybody's heard of this. I think this kind of like opening the door and then at where everybody is playing, they're all just kind of like really tired, relaxing. Um, so Aelin goes out into the Lord Westfall. Do they ever actually? I don't think they.
I don't think we've ever seen his name.
Very weird.
He
Yeah,
doesn't
I
even
get
like Kale doesn't introduce him. This is
no.
like my
He's like,
father
this is
wants
my
to see
father.
you.
Yeah, and you always see like Lord of Aniel or Lord Westfall or Kale's father. I don't think we ever.
Dads don't matter in the series, clearly.
Yeah, that's true because we don't. Well, I mean, never mind. We'll talk about that later. Um, so um, one of my favorite quotes is Kale's father just going, "This is my keep," and Aelin goes, "Is it really?"
Yes. Oh man.
But and this is where Aelin reveals that Kale,
Mm.
which you kind of realize, oh yeah, he never told his father that.
I always assumed that it just would have been
Yeah, right.
spread.
Well, no, but if you think about it, right, because um, pretty much
I guess.
immediately after they kill the king of Otterland,
Hmm.
Dorian goes in hiding.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of like you're hand of the king and you're going to the
Yeah,
other continent.
exactly, right? Like
That's
it's
true.
just like
Yeah.
pretty it's pretty quick. Um,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I mean, yeah, probably never got out past their circle.
True.
And the party pretty much is that, hey, um, we're not gonna get in your way. You're not gonna get. We're just here to help you get over it.
Yeah.
He really doesn't have other than I don't need the paper. Kind of like, uh, they don't need your approval either. They're just gonna exist here, and nobody's really gonna complain about it. So,
Yeah.
but just before they leave, Aelin tells Irene and Kale congratulations because Faye senses they probably and yeah, so got like walking.
Ding 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 ding.
Okay.
I do like
Um.
the fact that like Kale just is like, well, you met her,
Yeah. It's like
or well, you saw her.
yeah, exactly. They do the party talks a little afterward for Kale. Like it's got the feeling of that's rough, buddy.
Yeah.
um. And they talk about it, and they talk about Danielle in general and kind of how they concentrate fighters because everybody's terrified. They don't trust. It's obvious that Danielle doesn't trust Huggins' army, doesn't trust them.
Mhm.
That's something that they need to take out. They need to battle for
Mhm.
gain that trust. Otherwise, it can. And
Yes.
they kind of talk about that. They talk about the battle plan and
Someone. Oh, I was gonna say just something I found, especially in the second reading, that I don't think I really thought about before, is like Aelin asks Rowan if a land battle is easier or worse than one at sea. And it reminded me of how young she actually is and inexperienced in a battlefield.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because pretty much like she's
She's a
like
little
I've
ghost.
never actually been in a huge battle before. Like
Yeah, she's an assassin, so she does like maybe small groups, but not like army versus army.
yeah. And then it also
And she's
kind of
only what?
reminds it yeah, it also kind of reminds you of how many battles like the cadre have been.
Yeah. And they have like what, like 500 years worth of experience of bouts, and then like she's
Like this is
20?
my first battle.
Like, what's it like?
What's it like? Tell me everything. Um
I'm like, oh god, you're a child. I forgot.
it's only weird if they're not immortal.
Oh,
Listen.
I love it.
So, one thing that they'll probably like the I think one of the last things they talk about, we get to add another title to Aelin's already long name, as they
Mm,
all realize that uh, he is technically Mab's heir, and Rowan's line, Mora's heir, means that he and Rowan's cousins are heirs to Doranel. And
mhm.
I guess if they kill Maeve, rulers of actually no, not even kill Maeve. Like
I mean, 'cause
technically
they're the rightful
they
heirs.
are the true rulers of Doranel. Um,
Yeah.
and so you can add Fairy Queen of the West to Aelin's already long title. And I don't know. And I think
I'm
that's
still here.
interesting because this is another candidate for symbolic power. Right? When the little folk saw her in around Doranel, they gave her the moon of Math.
Mhm.
That's that's a symbolic show. They knew back then that she was their.
Mhm.
I think that's keep just keep acquiring magical items like just keep
Yeah.
going. Um,
And she's like, "No, I don't want anything to do with door now.
no,
No, thank
no,
you."
you Celine can have it. I will just be in Terrason, Brandon's heir.
Yeah.
So she has a nightmare about the word gate, and what have to do dreams of herself as well as another princess who I assume is Aina. Um,
Mm,
princesses, one golden and one silver, one young and one Galen, and
mhm,
she kind of she wakes up and she makes kind of a promissory. Now that I'm thinking it makes me wonder if that's around when she's like, I'm gonna do that's
mhm,
like the moment
mhm,
where she like, I'm gonna face this thing that I'm afraid of. We'll
mhm.
Chapter 55. Man, we're making so much progress. So, yeah, look at that. Dorian's a girl.
Oh my god, this cracked me up.
Yeah, this cracked me up so much. He's just like, man, boobs are heavy.
They're just like they're in the way. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Try playing golf.
Yeah, so he picked one of the Krakens that he saw the night before, and lit very awkward.
Yeah, like, and then you're like, and then he's like, like, huh,
Yeah,
what's that
and this
like?
is after
Like,
he'd been
you're
watching
looking
her
at a
like
girl.
all day to study
Yeah,
her.
like that's just weird, dude. Like, you could do anything. Change it a little bit, please.
But I do find it funny that Manon recognizes him almost immediately.
I
And
assume he has a smell to him, maybe.
yeah, that's because she says something like she turned nostrils ring, so she can like
Mm.
kind of either smell him or smell the magic. I mean, like they've probably slept with each other 5 billion times at this. I would be surprised if she did not recognize him. But she does say,
Yeah.
"I'm surprised you're not groping yourself." As who says I haven't already? Which
He thought
like,
about it.
um, yeah, and so they kind of have like a little bit of a tiff. Doesn't want him to go to Morath, but won't admit it, and he's just like, "I gotta go."
But he like dares her to be like,
Yeah, tell
say
me,
it.
say you
Say
don't
it.
want me to go, but she um
Boo.
he he pretty much tells her, "Tell me to," but you won't. Um, and he calls her out. I'm like, man, that's rough. It's like because while you might be older, might be deadly in 1,000 different ways, down you're afraid. You don't know how to ask me. You're afraid of admitting to yourself that you.
That you love me.
And she really doesn't have like a snappy comeback to that. She's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Just um, I like it's one of those. This is a really intense, but like in my head, I'm just laughing. I can just like her way of being like meh, 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 and then just
Yep.
walking away.
Both of them. Both of them.
um, yeah. So Glennis interrupts things, tells them not they're leaving,
Mhm.
except suddenly everybody looks to the
Dun, dun,
sky.
dun.
Glennis tells her to run. Manon's like, "What are you talking about? No idea." And suddenly the matrons, the Iron. I don't think we've seen them get this book. Um, about it.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
No, I
so
don't know.
it's Don's grandmother, Cressida Blue, and Yellow Legs main. Don't think
I
after
don't think
Baba yet.
so. Just
Um,
the new old lady.
yeah, we're gonna roll right into chapter 56. Um, the High Witches came alone, but honestly, they're matrons for a reason. They're an army in their own right, so brought their wyverns as well. So it's not like they're defenseless or anything.
No.
And Manon realizes that nobody else came. Shadows are or that nobody following. It's just them.
Mm.
And Manon tells everybody don't engage. He wants to handle, which I mean, fair, but also a little bit dumb. Um,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
yeah,
agree. I agree.
yeah, and you find out that the you know who, as Cressida tells her. And I very specifically Cressida has a very is it has been, and I'm like, I don't know why that sticks out to me. It was just it's a very well acted. Um, and they find out. Yellow Legs made unearthed from some trunk somewhere under Rhiannon's crown, which I think I don't know if they might describe it later on. This is kind of the first time that we're seeing Rhiannon's crown and
Mhm.
described it prior to that, so kind of interesting that this is such a symbolic battle to them because they know that Manon is with Rocket, that they have decided to mock them in this way by unearthing this like priceless diadem just
Yeah.
to show
That
them
they've been,
that
like,
they're not
dying to
afraid.
have
Yeah,
back. Yeah.
exactly. Yep. And Glennis this is the first time we kind of see her ferociously demand, what is it you want? And on back and forth with her grandmother and the other high witches and it says, hey, you're going to be mad at me for trying to turn the Iron Teeth against you, but like, did I say anything wrong? Like, am I wrong? So um, the matrons are pretty much going to get her to kill her that she would stop sewing this, which
Mm.
honestly that was probably like one of the worst symbolic gestures. That means she's actual, like,
Yeah.
not only you didn't send like a bunch of covens over to get, you came yourselves, right? And I
Yeah.
think because and I think yeah, Manon actually calls out on it and says, "Came because you are afraid." Like,
Mhm.
yeah, like you made a mistake. Um, and Manon goes and points directly at the main legs. Oh, it's so on! It's so on! Like, please, I'm so excited. Um, Especially when she says, "Then come and fetch it from me, traitor." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm
Get
ready." I
it.
love
Get
when
it.
Manon fights so much. That
Yeah.
if you couldn't realize why I am acting on, I just I love it. Battle, it's so her element, understands it so well. I think it's really interesting. Um, like a lot of the character martial nature, um, but it is I think on in the in with violence. Right? Like this is like what they is all they know. What
Yeah.
makes working with the Krakens, and I think it's also interesting that her grandmother acknowledges this seems from the last Kraken aligning. Like you just like
Yeah.
acknowledged your granddaughter as like the Kraken queen. Like why why are you continuing to give her power, you stupid bitch?
I mean, I think that line in particular was because Rhiannon fell eventually.
Yeah.
But I agree, though, it was a dumb. All of this is a dumb move
Yeah.
on the Matrix part, so might as well just pile it on.
So silly. Um and it's Cressida is the first one to realize that this is probably not a good idea. Because
Yeah.
while this is not the first time that Manon up against her grandmother, where the last time she almost died, um at that time Manon was like ready to die for her 13. but in
Mhm.
this at this point, Manon is like ready to leave. So there's
Yeah.
like a very big difference. Cressida's like, oh fuck, this is probably not a good idea.
Yeah. And
And
I think they talk. I think there's like a line in this chapter too where Manon basically also acknowledges that like she felt so unsure of herself in the previous fight against her grandmother. Like it was like the heartbreak of like breaking against her grandmother on top of everything else at the
yeah,
same time. And now it's like she is firm and like in her place where she needs to be.
yes, yeah, she says she was not a broken spirited wing leader of her place in the world. She was not ashamed for her. She no,
Very
she was not
awesome.
afraid at all. And Dorian's like, man, I'm so turned on right now. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
what he you actually see part of the battle from his eyes. Um, and he wants to join in, but Manon told him not to. Down for now. And none of the and all the Kraken are watching as well, but they're all standing by. And honestly, like if you think about it, right? Manon is 100 something years. The High Witches are hundreds of years, and
Yep.
there's three of you. And Manon gets hit like, like are you-
Yeah.
I would be ashamed of myself.
I don't know why my phone is being like this.
Press it.
I don't know what's causing it. But yeah, but yeah, anyways, the matrons. I think
Yes.
we're not so used to like not doing anything. Like the and I think there's even a previous line that Manon says when she's kind of like telling them how much that they fear her.
And
I don't understand. It started to do this on like a teams meeting a little while ago, but like not this bad ever. Um, matrons, yes. I got pulled away. Oh, just basically like they have no power without the other witches.
yep, yep.
Like,
That's where their
and I mean,
power is.
they get rusty and stuff. So
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, I think it's really interesting on where her grandmother is constantly trying to berate her, um, and Manon holds out a arm for another sword. Dorian's like, "I'll throw you, Damaris," but it's Bronwyn. It's a Kraken that helps her first, and tosses
Hmm.
her sword. And she claims Rhiannon Kraken held the gates for 3 days and she did not kneel before you even at the end. I think I shall do this. And I'm like, oh, let's go. And
um,
they exchange a few more blows. And Manon is getting worn down, but um, she leaves an opening for the Yellow Legs matron, who kind of caught up in the bloodlust. And her grandmother notices, and tries to warn her, but the Yellow Legs matron just gets her completely chopped off. Yeah, I think that one's kind of fun because of the ring of scars that were around Aylin's neck from Baba Yellowlegs.
Mhm.
And so this is kind of like a serving that revenge back, kind of like karma. Um, yeah, just nobody knows what to do for like a little bit. Um, and uh, and Manon over and puts the crown from the Yellow Legs matron onto her head. I just finished this today. Like this is probably going to be what I use for the Better World. 9 crowns or 9 stars.
Nice.
9 crowns. Crown's light danced over Manon's face as she lifted it above her head and set it upon her.
Yes.
Um, the Kraken Queen crowned in you. And I man, the blue bloods really like are getting off light the entire time. She
Yeah.
Manon looks at Cressida and tells her to go. Tell your daughter all debts between us are paid. She may decide what to do. And take that other wyvern out of here. Like take the yellow legs wyvern out of here. I mean, she should have taken fucking Manon's grandmother's. Like
I thought that too,
I'm
and at
like,
first I
why
thought
did you
that's what
take
she
the one
meant.
that doesn't matter anymore?
Yeah, I was trying to figure. I When she first said it, I thought she meant to take her grandmother's wyvern with her, and
Nope.
then I was like, "Oh no, she took the yellow eggs one. Why? They could probably use that."
And this is where Manon's grandmother realizes that she's fucked.
Yep.
um, and it's so funny because Manon's like, oh, I can kill her. Like this is really easy. Like I can kill her. But that's not me. Hey, Astrid, come over here. And she like beckons Astrid over, and Astrid's like, oh, fuck yeah. And that's when Manon's grandmother's like, oh, fuck no, and bolts out of there. Um, yeah, gets on her wyvern and leaves.
Which, oh my god, what it that is such a bad look.
Yeah, right? Like, you should at
You
least
just get
die there,
coward and
man.
ran.
Like, fucking die there. Don't be so lily livered that you're just gonna fucking leave when you realize you're not gonna.
Mhm.
Um, and Manon
I just
tries.
imagine this old woman though, like running, like with black
Yeah.
robes, like billowing, and she's trying to ride.
I don't know if you've ever watched Helsing,
Hmm.
but I think it's episode E, where where Alucard like climbs no no it's one of his other like enemies like climbs up a building and he just goes like all the way up the building like a spider. That's kind of what I imagine that to be. um,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and so when they all leave, Manon returns the sword back to Bronwyn. He tries to remove the crown of stars and give it to Glennis, and Glennis says no, it does not. What was stolen has been restored. What was lost has come. I hail thee, Manon Kraken. And all the Krakens and the Black Weeks and 13 just ah this had me screaming the very first time I read it. I'm like, yes, finally.
I do think that's the thing. It's like when she like when it's not on her head, it's like normal, and then when it gets closer to her, it glows,
Yeah, it's
and
just
then
like
it glows on her.
okay, so after all of that excitement, we are in chapter 57. And we are back in Aniel. Oh boy.
Time for
Everybody
trouble.
is so excited that aliens come to help them. Um, and Rowan's a little bit concerned because they're all calling her the Firebringer and haven't seen any fire really. Yeah, the caves.
Yeah,
Rowan doesn't really know why. Figures Aelin's gonna, but it's Fenris, and Fenris they burned her, right? Like he's a little bit scared. Fire,
which is fair.
which is fair, right? Like imagine something that you love so, something that's not only you love so much, such a part of you.
Hmm. Well, and she like I know it's different, but like she feels the fire in her veins. So like being actually burned by it, I feel like I would be scared to bring that back
Yeah,
up.
exactly. Like it's just like what will that do to me? Um,
Hmm.
and he also tells no longer the scene. But Fenris also tells him that one of the last scars that remain were their claiming marks. His the claiming marks that he why they faded was that on the terror.
Oh my
And I
god.
was like, baby, no. He was still looking for you. You don't know how devoted your man be. Like he doesn't give a shit about Terracin, man. He only cares about
Right?
you. Um, but yeah, so,
He's a little upset though that he was told though,
yeah,
but
exactly.
he needed to be said.
I never forced her to take anything she wasn't ready to. I think that it. I think that he wasn't hurt that Fenrir actually a little bit hurt that Aelin hadn't. It's
No,
something
definitely.
that's like so like traumatizing that and he had to hear
Yeah.
there
Really
and
random.
after breakfast they all looking for armor because well there's got to be something as much as they are immortal warriors it's better with armor strong enough into a room in Andiel and start raiding it. Um,
Well, so I mean, again, Kill's dad was a complete dick and wasn't using any of that funds to upkeep anything.
yeah, like
He's just
Andiel's
holding
in
it.
such like a destitute way, and he has so many treasures on room.
Hmm.
It's so they start arming themselves. Essentially, Caitlin finds beautiful and one of the things that like I read at some but I don't know. I've seen a bunch of people it. Um, I've never really been. I think I would have to like sit down and like
Mm.
instead of just. um, but yeah, I think that would. I think the idea that she's glad all in. Find out later. I'm just waiting now because she even finds like a crown.
Yeah, the
And I
diadem,
think
yeah.
that oh god, it's Aelin all dressed up, and that is got to be it, especially when it battle, like,
Yeah.
and they, Elide kind of makes like a side comment. Let's charge a great deal for your services, as they said that this is all of this armor is just an advance for them.
Yeah, I love it.
I need some way to pay for my expensive taste, don't I? Yes,
Well,
Aelin, yes,
and
you do.
also get paid what you're worth, Aelin.
Exactly, and you're worth a god's worth of gold. So, you know. So Aelin tells them that to head upstairs and that she'll find them. I don't know which. All of the cadre is up on the battlement. Aelin is not out there, and the battle's like about to start. And like Morath is like gonna crash against the wall. And where is Aelin? I remember reading this, listening, and feeling so much anxiety. Even though like I knew what was
Mhm.
happening, I'm like, where is Aelin? Why is she not coming out here?
Like, where is
And
Aelin?
you can kind of feel that with the rest of the army as well. That
Mhm.
Aelin is the one they're looking. They're looking for her, and she's not there. And that I have a very hard amount of power that's a symbolic power that somebody's existence that like up in Terrasen, just seeing her was enough to rally an entire army.
Mhm.
And now Aniel isn't even her own kingdom, part of her own kingdom, is like, where's Aelin? Everybody wants to see where this Firebringer, and her
Mhm.
presence is like enough to rally them. And for somebody who's 19, that's a huge weight on them.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, you need to be there on the front line so that thousands of people don't feel as scared as you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crazy.
God. I,
That's why she didn't want it to begin with.
exactly. And I think about that a lot. Or I thought about that feeling a lot. I was writing the Better World. It leans on the theme taking on more responsibility, and whether that is cool or not, you might have all the skills. You don't feel ready for it. A lot of times you're not ready. If you're not ready to what you know and rely on yourself, it can make that whatever you're doing very different.
Mhm.
Aelin struggles with that balance of acting like she knows what she's while inside feeling like she has no idea what.
Yeah.
So in Better World, we actually do. This it's really weird because this is kind of like scene before the battle, and like
Mhm.
everybody remembers the battle name, but nobody like really talked about like that feeling before
Mhm.
Aelin not showing up, and we don't really know. We're not really sure why she didn't. I don't think she actually go into mind and why she took so long up there. Was she looking for something? Was she afraid and trying to psych herself up? Was
Mhm.
she like trying to prepare herself for was she trying to decide power or not? Like we don't know what was
Mhm.
going through her. And I like to think that it that she needed a to rally herself, had to rally everyone. And it wasn't something that Rowan could do. It wasn't something Fenris could do. It wasn't something Court could do. It had to be
Mhm.
her. And while that's true, I think when it a lot of self confidence, it kind of also reminds you how alone it feels like she still thinks she has to do on her.
Mhm.
That's my conclusion. I just say baby. It's okay. So anyway, when that Aelin does come out after the first uh siege tower shows up. And and she just stands in with her war crown and stands in front of the siege tower where the bridge has gone down over the wall and just fucking holds the wall.
Correct.
Like
Yeah.
like she's just like,
Well,
"Ah, yes. This is what I know. Battle. Let's go."
I can kill things. We
I
can
can
do
kill
this.
things. That's easy.
Yeah. So, I was gonna say I didn't want to interrupt the
No.
emotional and stoic ideas that she would have had, but I think also part of it was she just was trying to get that armor on by herself because she didn't have it earlier. This is your first time seeing it. She found the
Yeah,
shield
that's
earlier,
true. That's true. That is also
but
possible that she. Yeah, because you need. Oh my god, I didn't realize how much a page was necessary until I tried putting armor on myself. That shit's hard.
yeah, there's a lot of buckles and stuff, and like once you have a piece on, you can't bend as
Yep.
easily. Like,
She sent them all up so that she can find armor for herself, and then realize afterwards that was a bad call.
it's like, oh shit, I should have asked Lee to stay. But she
But
probably also having going through some emotional turmoil. I'm sure,
as she's
absolutely.
trying to put the buckles on.
Like,
Fuck, 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 fuck. But yeah, so everybody starts rallying to the queen. They start screaming queen to the queen, and I think that's weird. She's not your
it
queen, man. Like, why do you keep saying that?
is
Um,
funny. Yeah, I didn't think about that part of that. They are in Otterland, not the Terrason area.
yeah.
I'm like, they should just merge into one country. Is what I
And
think.
so this it's kind of alluded to that the reason she had waited until dawn was put on a performance.
Yeah, as per
Um,
usual.
as per you. That's what she. I like to think that she was having some physical turmoil as but we are reminded that Hisar told her.
Hmm.
So yep,
And she does. She does a
she
great
does.
job.
She does impress them. The dawn light shining on the golden armor as she's like holding this ball. Yeah, it's great. Um, and we're kind of reminded that Aelin also grew up around battle and
Hmm.
around fighting, and that's where she at peace. This is something that she knows how to do. Might
Hmm.
not know how to be a queen. She might not know how to rule just yet. She might not know all the answers, like the word game and everything. But she does know how to kill things, and that's something she can be confident at. We like a girl who knows her strengths.
Hmm.
But yeah, so she's having a good time. Chapter 58. We go and check on Elide and Irene, mostly
Hmm.
he does think of Lorcan a little bit, but says, "No, bad. I'm mad at him. Like, don't think about Lorcan." Um, sorry, microphone. And so she's helping Irene rest the not used to it. It's rough. Sorry, Elide. Welcome to your first war.
Yeah. And you're also like in the medic area, which is like
Yeah.
kind of the worst place to be. Well, other than the front line.
So, that go and check on Kale. Kale is doing his Kale thing and is on Farasha, stomping down Volg, which amuses. I
Mhm.
love her. And then we have Nezrin. So Nezrin is with Sartak, fighting in the air, and they find something extremely concerning, i.e., um, Morath trying to destroy the dam that overlooks any.
Bum bum bum.
Um, yep. Doesn't matter how many soldiers you have, you can't stop a river.
Mhm.
So they Sartak and attempt to put an end to Wrath going dam, and two, they are successful, but not before the dam has very heavy damage. Yep, not
Yeah.
great.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
they
I don't think they were successful, but they did delay it.
Yeah, so they were successful in because at the time Morath was planning on just doing it right then.
With everybody,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they were successful in stopping them from just destroying it. But
Yeah.
it was heavily and so they try to get back to the castle as soon. Um, I'm I am I know that this is like narrative advice, but I am like so confused by the timeline of.
Okay, I was gonna say the distance between things, I'm like very
Yeah,
confused about.
yeah. So I'm confused by like why is bird who can this giant bird who can fly um to have taken longer than fucking you'll see than another wild ride across the fucking plains of Aniel. So
Yeah.
but that's fine. We pick up back at Lorcan, who is doing what he does best. He likes to kill things. Stuff real hard. Yeah, Lorcan.
Definite rejection. Woo!
Um, so he and Gavriel are going through. They actually went straight through the tower.
Yeah. Which I'm like just digging down the
Yeah,
stairs.
I'm just imagining like Legolas on the elephant, like, and as they make their way down the tower, like that's kind of the same mood. um, and they start fighting their way across the battlefield.
Mhm.
And Lorcan is being sad boy because like Elide will never forgive me. She made it clear that that I have nothing and we are nothing, and so it doesn't really matter what happens to me. I can at least make sure she's safe, and I'm gonna kill things until she's safe, which is a very Lorcan thing to do. Honestly.
Yeah.
Um, um unfortunately, you know there's only so much that Lore can do against sheer numbers, and he gets struck from the back,
Yeah.
and just and then as he's going down, he gets struck again in the man. That's rough, buddy. So
Yeah.
and just kind of
I'm
falls,
still against other people.
yeah, just falls amongst the dead bodies, and we are unsure of what happens. He just is
Mhm.
there. We're like, "Are you dead?" Um, I remember the first time I read through this, I was like, "Oh God, Elite's gonna be real sad, man."
Yeah. Yeah. Because like
Um,
Hellas was like pushing him to keep
yeah,
going too, and I was like, is this going to his death right now?
right? And I'm just thinking like I want. We'll talk about this part later because I'm going to go back to your point. I'm going to try to remember to go back to your. I think there is a reason why Hellas.
Mm,
So, um, yep. It seems they're kind of like in the middle of the battle right now, and Rowan and Aelin taking a break with Fenris. Hassar is saying that it's minimal losses. Essentially, like they've got a lot of soldiers compared to Murat's army. Like it's kind of nothing. Obviously, the war is terrible, and there's people dying everywhere. But overall, they're not doing too bad. I mean, Aniel is doing, it's
yeah.
fine.
I mean,
None
if
of
you're
them are
looking at
really
percentages,
fighters. Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
like, oh, I was gonna say, when you're looking at percentages, the Kagan army is probably like, oh yeah, we lost like 400 people, but that's only like 2%. Whereas like if Ania lost 400 people, that's like most of their
Yes,
army.
most of their city. Yeah. And Aelin is confronted by Hassar, who that she put on a show today, and they kind of they mentioned that Kale's father saw the armor that they found, and he was so mad.
So
But then that's when Kadara and Sulky, uh, Sartak and Nez go up. Hey guys, Sam's about to break acid. Nobody likes the sound of that,
yeah.
but there's nowhere for them to go. They have so many soldiers out on the water in that dam is going to wash all of them away.
Hmm.
They're trying to figure out a plan, try to gather as many people up with the Rooks as possible and put them on the peak. And I'm like, think of
Like numbers wise.
numbers wise and also time wise. Like, it
Yeah.
took how long? Like, the battle's pretty much over. And
Yeah.
that's when Nezrin and Sartak showed up. So, like,
Yeah.
how long exactly was this battle? Was it like an hour? Because I feel like that's the appropriate amount of time for a bird to fly from like one end of the field to another. Or like,
Like how big is this field? I
yeah,
don't
like
know.
how
I
big
think
is
this
this
is
field?
really
Like, how fast are these rooks? Was this battle like the shortest battle ever? Because usually those take like several hours long. Like, this isn't like a fast thing. So, like, what the fuck,
yeah.
guys? Um, and Kale wonders
Um,
if this was a trap all along. He knew if Erewhon knew that they were bringing the continent, that they were going to go to NEL because Kale was bringing them. Like, was
mm,
this all part of his plan to get rid of the and
which could be.
it could be, yeah. And they start asking like, "Hey, Rowan, can you river?" Um, and Rowan's like, "I'm good. I'm not that good." And Aelin is this is in her mind one of the last chances she has to not have to. They get the
Mhm.
Kaghan's army to go help Terrace. Maybe this, maybe they have a chance. Wipe out the army now. That chance is gone. So she's
Yeah.
not doing great.
And she feels out of control too. Like there's not many options for her to save all these people.
So exactly. So we go and check back in feed, and he finds out. Elite finds out that the dam's gonna break. Not good. Um,
But most importantly, one person is missing.
yes, and most importantly, where is Lorcan? That was
Yeah.
gonna be my second quote. If is where is
That is a
Lorcan?
good one. Yeah.
Because because as much as she has been so angry with him, like we all know still loves him. And
Yeah.
the fact that like nobody asked that question.
Yeah.
Nobody wondered where Lorcan was. Not even Gabriel, who was with him, fighting with him. Nobody
Yeah. Just like
wondered.
he likes to kill things. He's out there.
Yeah, he's somewhere out there. And so Rowan like demands Fenris go look for him. Your magic. And
Yeah.
Fenris is like, I can't. And Rowan actually like accuses him of just not liking Lurkin.
Yeah.
I'm like, and but Aylin's the one who
You
stands between.
won't.
Huh?
Mhm.
Yeah,
He's like, it's not that you can't, but you won't.
exactly. And I'm like, dude,
Damn.
uncalled for. Aylin's like, stop.
Yeah.
um, and it's Fenris. If I remember correctly, it's because Fenris shared um that connection with Connell. Both jump.
Yeah.
Just hasn't been able to. But
Yeah.
Elide is not going to back down. He made Lorcan a promise ages ago. I will always find him. And she doesn't know how she's gonna do it, but she's gonna find him. She promised, damn it. She's gonna find him.
All these old promises coming back up after they've been mean and angry to the other person.
Right? God. And she's knows in her heart he's not dead. He's out there. And that's when she finds Farasha. The poor fucking stable hands who are trying to handle Farasha. Kale, why did you let these poor people try to do that? You know that's not gonna go very well. Like, really? And a
No.
lead just runs up and goes, I'll get her. And the guy's just like, alright,
Yeah.
good
No,
luck.
thank you.
And Farasha, um, being in all of her wise wisdom, understands what a lead needs when she asks help. And the horse lets her get on. They plunge out into the, you know, minutes before this dam's supposed to break.
Supposedly minutes. Could be an hour.
Yeah. Chapter 60, Rowan knew his magic would be the inevitable. And it is frantic. I forgot how intense like
Mm,
everybody just like running there, and they're all running in the opposite direction from Elite first.
yeah.
Um, all the healers are being picked up by the Rooks. Like it is crazy, and Princess Asar is just like Morgan could be dead. Like you really just gonna let her go out there? Um, yeah, and they all realize, holy crap, that's a lead. Like, no, again, nobody's keeping track of their people, man. Like, nobody knew where
Except
Lorcan
like,
was.
that's my
Where's the lead?
horse.
Oh, there she is. Like,
And it's like, oh hey, wait, there's my horse.
yeah. And she's running, or she's galloping through on Farasha, screaming for Lorcan. I don't know what her plan was, and like, there's like thousands of people on that plane. Like, I don't know. And
Yeah.
like he's wearing black, they're all wearing black. Like come on.
Right? I mean, I guess he has like little random bits of armor, but I don't think Elite got to see what armor he was wearing.
Yeah, you
Because
don't
like
know what
she
he's
was,
wearing. You don't know like what direction he was really going in. You kind of do. Like Gabrielle tells her.
yeah. But then at a point it stops and it's like, well, he could have gone like
Yeah. Like
any
where
other
were you?
direction. But I assume it's like strategy, Anya.
Yeah. She's
Like
she's
not pushing
letting
him
letting
directly,
letting
but
Aneth
like,
guide her.
yeah. Although she hasn't heard anything from her, so which was kind of interesting. So she was kind of having to use like her own smarts of like talking about like, oh, maybe he would use the lake as
Yeah,
like a
as his back.
yeah.
Yeah, she I do think she does mention. does. I believe you're right. Where she, of course, Lorgan would like Richard Lake to cut off like one of his sides so that he can kill the enemy or
Yeah,
something
something
like
like
that.
that, yeah.
Um,
But so it's kind of nice to see like her own smarts, I think, in this.
that's true.
Oh,
Um,
and then also, just also with the lead, like being knowing to yell at the make way for the queen in order to get
yes,
through the crowd,
yes.
trying to push past her. Like that was
She's
smart.
like she's one of the only people with common sense. I quite like Elise a lot.
Yes, definitely.
So uh, this is actually a scene that I refer to as well. Um, uh, Other character is trying to suss out what she might be scared of. Concludes that Lead isn't scared of much. Like you rode across the plains of Aniel. Like stupid drunk shits talk about it in taverns. You're not afraid of death. So what are you afraid of? Like Elite's just like she's afraid of losing Lorcan. I'm pretty sure that's it. Like
Yeah, basically.
um yeah, so she's running around screaming for Lorcan. And oh yeah. She she's surrounded by black and gold armor. So the gold armor from the southern continent, black armor from the Valg, and she realizes that there, not too far from the water's edge, lay a patch of Feldmoraths, cloth of them, not a single set of golden. Even where the Kaghan's army had swept through, they had lost soldiers. Yet here there were none. No arrows or spears either to account for the felling of six. He's like, ah, yeah, that's my boyfriend. Like, there he is.
He's not here.
um, yeah, and so that's when he starts cults Farasha and trying to look for, just calling him louder. And that's when she hears it. And she's just like, she recognizes his groan.
It's like a muffling, yeah.
And then he like thrusts a hand up like in a pile of corpses and I'm like ew.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he starts trying to dig him out, and man, he is not helping at all.
No.
Okay, so let's imagine this. So Elite is my height, right? She's like 5 foot. I think she's 5'2" actually.
Maybe.
Lorcan is 7 feet. Like this, and he's pure muscle. Like
Yeah, he's a heavy dude.
this man is not, and he's like injured beyond belief. Like I believe they even say even um the way that the Fae can heal themselves, like it is not healing.
Yeah, it's not doing a good
It's
job.
not doing a good job. Um,
He's like cut to the bone in the back, and then he's basically
and his
gutted.
guts
His
are
just
like
guts haven't
spilling
fallen out
out.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and
But
she's like pretty much telling him, get on the horse, like don't stop. You have to get on this horse. Into the saddle. You didn't running die, and you're not dead yet. We're not dead yet, so get in that saddle.
yeah.
And like this is such an emotional part. Like I am this is such a long part, but it feels very natural. The times where I'm like, oh, sometimes Sarah J. Maas knows how to write. Um, and I was tense all of these pages.
Yeah, I definitely felt immersed in these, and then I even started tearing up when he was like being like, "Let me go," and I was like,
Yeah,
"No, no, you can't let her
yeah,
go."
because they do get it. They do finally get him up onto the saddle, and
God, a lot of
they
work.
start um riding back. not enough. Like, they're not gonna get back to the key. Rasha's really strong and she's a horse, but Lorcan is also a huge male, and like Farasha will go faster. Let me go. But oh, that's not there yet. Sorry. uh,
Oh, my bad.
yeah, she keeps screaming, hold the gate, or she's thinking in her head, hold the gate faster, Farasha, like faster. It is now a mad dash because we don't know when that dam is gonna break, but we do know it's going to be soon. And that's when we get
Soon.
into chapter 61. And Morgan is like barely conscious onto it. And that's when he have to like, no, you fucker! Like, she came all the way out here. Like, she's not gonna.
Right?
She's on it. Like, honestly, like in my head, I think she wouldn't have either if
Oh,
she
no,
had
I don't
let
think
Lord.
they would've.
I don't think so. So you might as well die together. That's all I'm saying. Like, um,
Yeah, no, definitely.
but it's a very, very sweet moment, very unlike Lorcan,
Yeah.
where he tells her, "I love you. I have loved Max, and I will be like, baby, no, like."
Yeah, that definitely hurt me more the second reading for some reason. I was just like, I was in it.
Baby.
Uh,
And that's when the lead impresses her iron will upon Lorcan. Only fucking weak, other than swords to the back, and like pins his arm around her so that if he falls, he would also drag her with. And
mhm.
so he has no choice but to stay on. And the the cry that Elizabeth Evans made in the audiobook, "Fly, Farasha, fly, fly, fly," is heartbreaking. Like,
Oh
this is um one of the few times in the book. So if you read it, is one of the few times where it's in all caps and italicized.
no. Mhm.
And Elizabeth Evans, who's a narrator for the audiobook, just like delivers this line beautifully. It's Elide slamming her heels in Rasha's sides and fly, Farasha, fly. Just it makes me feel things.
Yeah.
And we go back to the where everyone is just watching them. Like, you can imagine like some of your best friends about to die, and there's nothing you can do. Like, you are literally watching them, which I'm like, why did nobody? If you saw them, why did nobody send a rook out to go fucking pick them up?
That's what I guess they were all busy because there's still a bunch of people they were actually like galloping past. So I guess they were still trying to get the closest people to the water.
Oh my god! I mean, okay, I'm not here to claim favoritism, but like,
I know.
go get
Yeah.
your fucking friends who own like
Yeah.
the fastest rooks ever and go
Yeah.
pick up your fucking friends. Like,
I agree.
anyway,
It'll make it dramatic though.
it's true. That's true.
But true,
And
I
then
definitely was like, why? If you know that they're there, someone could have got
yeah,
them.
exactly. Like, if anything, like fly over and watch as like a lead is looking, and in the case that she can't find them, pick up a lead.
Yeah,
Like, but anyway, oh yeah, by the way, Aylin's gone again.
of course, as she does.
JK, LOL, Aylin's just like disappeared. Rowan's like, fucking what? Like, my dude, keep a hold on your wife. Like, come on, she can't keep getting away with this.
I
um,
mean, she's an assassin, so she knows how to sneak. It's fine.
and yep, Aelin is being dropped off by Arcus, Forte's room. in the middle of the plane.
See, that
Classic Aelin move here.
that Root could have picked up a lead though.
Right? Why did she just anyway. And we finally show up at my quote. Oh God, Fenris breathed, seeing her too. They all saw her, the queen on the plane, the endless wall
Hmm.
of water. And so we know several things, right? We know that Aelin has not used her power other than in the almost if not three. We know that she still has her power because she is talking to several times in King Ash already and telling it to quiet. We have all assumed, partially, and I'm sure this is still somewhat true, that the reason she has not used it is she's
Hmm.
um, we also know from Air of Fire about the the act of tunneling into, which I always found is a very interesting, and I do like the idea, like
Hmm.
plunging into a chasm is how far down you can go, and then dragging everything that came before it up in order
Hmm.
to like kind of like access power. Um, and we know that uh, maybe I think it's in book 5. It might have even been book 3 when Aelin finds the floor of her power and punches.
Oh yes.
I don't remember exactly which,
I don't
but
remember which
yeah,
one. But yeah, that was cool.
she found like a false floor of her power. Usually like magic users have a floor, they have a limit, and
Hmm.
Aelin straight through it. Um, so knowing all of these, there is a huge wall of water surging, and she makes herself an absolute pillar of fire. Like,
Just like Dragon Ball Z style, like.
yeah, like straight up. And Rowan says 3 months. He's been making the descent power for 3 months. We have seen Aelin descend into her power after a couple.
Hmm.
It might have been 3 days. It might have. I don't remember. But we've seen what she can do. I believe that it's from Empire of Storm.
That makes sense to fighting
Yeah,
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She tunneled in to fight when everything was gonna attack at Skull's Bay.
yeah, exactly. So we've seen her
Yeah,
for a couple of weeks, but
yeah.
because she has been trapped in iron, and that's probably the only reason she's able to do it because it's it's harder and harder to tunnel in and control all that power. The deeper you,
Mhm.
and so because she was artificially found, um, she's able to just keep going because the iron was,
Mhm.
and she just kept going.
Well, what's crazy too is that we saw her release some of that power
Yeah.
when she got out and was in the cave and got into the freezing water, and you're like, oh shit! Like she did all of that, and there was still all of this.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's and I'll be honest though. So if Rowan wasn't here, everybody would be still fuck. Everybody still be would fucking dead. Would still be fucking dead. Sorry, everybody would still be fucking dead. Like I'm sorry, Aelin did not think this through.
No.
Because the minute that the fire hits the wall of water, steam shoots up everywhere. And that it's still they do still say blistering steam capable of melting flesh from bone shot across the shot across the plain. And Rowan, in his infinite wisdom, cools everything down. Like, oh my god, can you imagine? It's like, ah, yes, I went and did a thing and then killed everybody anyway.
In like a very agonizing way.
Yeah. Um, and they just the water, I mean, an entire river. It just and Aelin just going. And
Hmm.
it's a realization, I believe, from Rowan's side. Thinks, oh god, this is Maeve's death blow. This is what
Hmm.
she was saving for. Ever since she was captured, this was going to be how she was. But she decided that it was better use to save everybody here. Now, it
Poor Terrace.
might have been a really dumb plan, but like, cool. um, it's debatable. I don't want to take away from this, like amazing. I think that they would have been fucked if she did not do it. So I do think that even though Rowan needed for an assist, maybe she knew that Rowan could do that. Um,
Probably.
something like that. I think that she should have just taken Rowan with her, but like, fine. Aelin going off and doing it on her own again is not a surprise to anybody.
Yeah, it's like her big downfall.
Yeah. Um, and it's it's fun to think that we've always seen Rowan as who's incredibly powerful. His magic is, I mean, obviously partially, but his power in general is also incredibly strong.
Hmm.
And it might also be hasn't been there's that, but he's almost at burnout, and the wall of flame is like
Yeah,
in full.
yeah, like he's
Um,
starting to bleed on the inside.
yeah, maybe. um, finally, the river went down, then it passed, then another. Like, damn, man. um, and then there is when all the steam starts lessening, water starts silence settles over on the plain. Fire flickered through the gold and muted throbbing glow. Glowing flame Frank past fire crowded plain. Not a pillar of fire. Aelin, white hot, so holy to the did become.
This
If
was the
that's not a
particular Firebringer.
yeah fireburner, yeah, fireburner. If
Yeah,
that's not a symbol of power, I don't know what.
right.
Like, you just saw probably the most powerful, the most powerful magic user in Aurelia use her power to save your goddamn city. Like,
Yeah,
that is song worthy.
yeah, definitely.
And
But yeah, and
we
then yeah, and then you see the Lead and Larkin are on the plane still, and you're
yeah,
like,
yeah, they're just like um yeah, and we hear a little bit from Aelin um at the very end of this chapter. For 3 months she had sung to the darkness and the flame and then back. While Maeve and Cain had worked on her, she had day by day by day deep, and that was because she'd felt the fire sleep city because there are a bunch of hot springs and that Kale mentioned, and they had come here for this reason. And I think that's part of the reason why delving into power is so difficult is because the more you give yourself over to that power, the less of yourself you become.
Mhm.
And it's great to see that after she has expended all that power, Aelin feels the most like herself. They
Mhm.
actually say clarity, sharp and clear, filled its wake. You could see again, know that she's been having trouble feeling like herself and her skin, not only after that trauma, but now we know also be giving herself over to that power for ages.
Mhm.
Uh, she deserves several days of sleep from that burnout, and that's what she does. She falls to her and curls on her side, and she feels um, uh, somebody. Not sure if Rowan is feeling great enough to scoop her up, but somebody scoops her up and takes her back, and she fades in the
Yeah. I like that they say that, or I like that she says that she feels like she's been forged
yes,
back
forged
into
in
her
you.
body.
Good point. I always love all the fire references that
Mhm.
surround a being something like very destructive, but also something great how you direction attic Galen.
Mhm.
And with that, we have reached the end of chapter 61 and this very, very long episode. Yay!
Oh, it has been a while. Oops.
Whoops. It's almost 2 hours. It's fine.
That's totally fine. But we got through it. We didn't get distracted. We didn't have any anecdotes really. Like we actually stayed on track.
That's true. Yes, we did stay on track, and that is a rare thing. Um, yeah. Do you have I guess okay. So we have MVP, and honestly, I'm just gonna say Aelin, but so there's Aelin, but also Elide. Like holy shit. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean. And then you have
It's like
Manon. Like this is just such a hard one because you have Manon who like actually stood up to her grandmother and became Queen of Witches.
Mhm.
You have a lead doing the fucking crazy and looking for Lorcan on a plane that's about to be flooded, and then you have Aelin being Aelin. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I, it is tough too because you like go through Manon at the beginning and then it's just all everybody else.
Yeah.
But um reminding me that Manon is part of this, I probably would give it to Manon for like fully embracing who she is. Um, but Elide would definitely get like a badge of courage, Medal of Honor.
Medal of Honor, Medal of Valor. Just here you
Yeah,
go.
there you go, better that.
um yeah, I think that I think that while this is very much Aelin, glad that she felt. I don't think this was I think she even kind of talks about it. This wasn't a hard decision. Like
Hmm.
she's like, I was going to use this for Maeve, but this is obviously um so
Yeah.
I am not sure if she did want to say I'm not sure if she did anything difficult because what she did was very difficult. Like
Yes.
holding into all
Use
that
the
power and
fire.
everything. But I feel like this is not gonna get so much hate. I feel like this is not something unusual for her.
Yeah.
unusual or like crazy. It's crazy to everybody else, but to Aelin, this is just what she does. I
Yeah.
don't think this was something specifically very difficult orally or mentally.
Mhm.
Um, and for that reason, I'm not just saying this because I love Manon. I do agree um, that Manon, this is kind of a an end to her queen. So
Mhm.
like this is like the culmination of everything. I wonder partially if Manon hadn't tried giving the crown back, if that would have ended. You know, like she like at the very
Oh.
end tries to give the crown back, and they're like, no, this is right.
Yeah.
So uh so yeah, I think with this being the end of Manon's queen, um, I would obviously
Mhm.
need a lead a Medal of Valor, and they will be singing songs about her. So um and I think that Aelin, this is more of, like you had said before, a reform. This is something new, new begin.
Mhm.
And like her kind of realizing what she decided to see that from here, because I think that that will lead to an MVP
Mm.
from this. I think this is a starting point. That's what it is. This is a starting point. Up until
Yeah.
this whole moment, she's been like stuck, I think, in her months of tortures. Even when she broke
Yeah.
out, she was still stuck here, and now she's not.
Yeah.
So
And I
now
think
she can
also
start doing great things.
yeah, and I think also it's kind of this nice symbolism. Like she's been like burying deeper and deeper into this chasm. So I imagine it being darker and darker also. And then yeah, you're kind of like she's stuck in it. She's holding on to all of this power that's from that time. And this is like the release of it too. Um
And kind of, I mean, obviously, we all know that um, emotional emotional healing does not work as quickly as this. Like, oh, suddenly I'm fine again. But um, this this is at least, I think, part of it, where
yeah.
she's like, I am ready to move.
Mhm.
That's a very important step in her arc as we come to, come to the end of part one. Another 5 chapters
Oh, there should be
covering
two.
in episode 8. And then we'll be at the end of part one. And so, do you have any last things to add?
Oh, you had mentioned something about the whole Anieth and Hellas and the
Oh, right,
horse.
right. So I wonder if, because Aneth and Hellas are consorts, um,
Mhm.
that and I'm consorts, like I would assume, want to get they want their avatars to get along. That like this was how Lorcan was going to make up with, right?
Yeah.
So he's just like, no,
Just
no, just
force
keep
me
going.
back
It'll
to the
be fine,
sea.
man. It'll be fine. Just keep going.
I won't let you die, but we're gonna get you close.
Yeah, right. It's like it's fine. Don't worry about it. You trust me, right? It's okay. But yeah, sorry. That this is such a minor thing to end this episode on. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm
Sorry.
thinking. Like if Hellas kept pushing him, it was like this is what you need to do. Not
Mm,
not just to prove to yourself, but to have a lead prove how she feels.
okay.
And that's
A
how
little
we're
bit of
gonna
love
like.
matchmaker.
This is how we're gonna fix all this.
Totally, that's how this works. Yeah.
So yeah. How about you? Any
Um, I really enjoyed these chapters, and I look forward to the next one.
Yes. I look forward to the next one as well. So, if you haven't already and you podcast, then like comment down below what your favorite part of this chapter section. I know there were a lot of parts, but tell us what you best. Tell us if we were correct if on for the MVP, or should we have chosen Aelin or Ethan? I am happy to be proved wrong. Please, I will meet you in the want to hear more from us. Definitely subscribe and go when
Yeah.
I can't do that. Doesn't do me. But yeah, we really guys for watching. Bye.